Hi everyone and welcome to First Year Biology. In Botany and Plant Science, we are looking forward to meeting you in semester 2. However, some of us may meet you beforehand, for example, as first year tutors. The umbrella term, Botany and Plant Science, includes a really diverse range of different organisms. For example, it includes the land plants, which can be split into the bryophytes, so mosses, liverworts and hornworts, ferns, conifers, and the flowering plants. The flowering plants is the largest group, and there are over 320,000 species known. However, these are being added to all the time as there are advances made in technologies such as molecular biology, enabling differences to be discovered between plants, and also as we investigate more thoroughly or in new areas. We also look at algae, including seaweeds, freshwater and terrestrial algae, fungi, and lichens. And the study of botany includes the interactions of these organisms with each other and with other organisms such as bacteria and animals. We also look at how they are impacted by the abiotic environment, for example, soil type, and differences in temperature, rainfall, and so this is important, for example, in the context of climate change. There are many factors which make botany a really exciting topic to study, but fundamentally plants make up 82% of all of the biomass on the planet. They are the organisms which are able to fix light energy and convert it into chemical energy. This means that they are the primary resource that is available at the basis of most food chains. They provide essential habitats, and they are the basis of sustainable resources for humans and, well, also for other animals, but for humans to use, for example, as medicines, as timber, as foodstuffs. So there are many, many reasons to be interested in plants. And we also look at all of these organisms at different levels. For example, from the ecosystem level, where we look at all of the organisms within a particular habitat. And here you can see Dr. Bacon in botany looking at the community of organisms which occur on the Corab edge on campus. And in this case, this includes a wide variety of different orchids. But we also study at the cellular and subcellular levels. So this image here shows the inner cells of a brown seaweed that are used for transporting sugars around, and what you can see that is bright green is the cell wall, and it has been labeled with a compound which recognizes the sugars in that cell wall. And you can see the various interconnections between different cells here that allow those sugars to be transported effectively. So as you've probably deduced from what I've just said, as well as a wide range of organisms being studied and at different levels, for example, ecosystem and cellular levels, we also study within the lab and within the field, and some studies can be more focused in one direction or the other, and some can include a mixture of both. In the image below, you can see on the left-hand side students doing an assessment of the amount and distribution of biomass of seaweed on the rocky shoreline, and on the right-hand side you can see a former fourth-year student carrying out his research project, and here he was subculturing some freshwater green algae. We also, of course, have lecture, tutorial and seminar-based studies. Galway is a special place for many different reasons, but particularly for botany and plant science, it is very well positioned. Galway is in a unique environment. We have unique floras, communities and ecology surrounding us, and many of the habitats are world renowned. For example, Connemara and the Burren. So on the left hand side of the image here you see the Connemara, which is well known for its peat bogs, and acidic habitats. And on the right hand side you can see the karst environment of the burren. And in the burren there are plant communities here that occur nowhere else in the world. We have mixtures of plants that occur only in Arctic alpine situations at very high altitude in some places, and they are mixed with plants that only occur otherwise within Portugal. So we have this real mix of communities, and we have a very unique environment there on our doorstep. Other local environments include the very close by coastline, which includes sandy and rocky shorelines, and where we have a world recognized diversity of different seaweeds. And you can see a nearby beach on the left hand image. On the right hand image you see an urban environment where studies include, for example, those of invasive species such as this Japanese knotweed. Our campus is also very exciting in terms of the plants that occur, and this includes, for example, the bee orchid that you see depicted here. There are, of course, many different reasons to study botany and plant science, and these include, for example, that many different fundamental scientific discoveries have been made using plants. This includes the discovery of cells and genes and transposons, so jumping genes. So in the images shown here, you can see on the left hand side one of the first images ever taken using a microscope, and these were of quark cambial cells, and the way these looked actually gave rise to the name cell by analogizing with the living quarters of monks, but also cell theory. And in the central region, you can actually see the experiments carried out by Mendel on peas, which led to the discovery of genes. Studying botany also gives you the opportunity to learn and apply very many different techniques. For example, those that are lab, herbarium, and field-based, carrying out different culture techniques. So the image at the top here is of an Arabidopsis tissue culture, learning to identify plants and algae, which is important, for example, for environmental consultancy, microscopy, learning how to carry out different biochemical analyses, different survey techniques, and different ecological impact studies. This means that our students leave with a large number of techniques and capabilities, which leads to the possibility for entering many different careers. This includes research, but it also includes teaching, working in food safety, in journalism, in agriculture, in horticulture, in ecology. One of our more recent academic staff members, Dr. Stephen Sylvester, was an environmental consultant before he joined us. So to just give you a little bit of a flavour of what some of our former graduates are now doing, this image here shows Finbar McCann, who graduated in 2022, so he's one of our more recent graduates. He is now an environmental consultant. In fact, he started that job before he'd actually graduated, and he originally came from County Fermanagh and went to Enniskillen Grammar School. Tegan Reinert, who graduated with her undergraduate, so her BSc in 2020 and an MSc in 2021, is now currently a PhD student in molecular paleobotany and evolution at Edinburgh University in Scotland, and she originally came from the States specifically to do an undergraduate degree in botany. Ethna Brown is now a PhD student in plant pathology and epidemiology. She graduated with her BSc in Botany and Plant Science in 2016, and then she carried out an MSc graduating in 2018, and she originally came from County Donegal. And Niall Higgins, who graduated a little bit longer ago, so in 2007, and actually continued on to a PhD, graduating in 2011, is now a Senior Business Development Manager for the Kerry Group, and he came from Galway. He went to St Joseph's College. So that gives you a little bit of a flavour of what some of our graduates have got up to, but knowledge about plants can end up being really, really useful in a wide range of circumstances. So for example, some of you may know the cartoon Encanto, and they actually hired a botanist to help them make the cartoon look more realistic. There are a really wide range of jobs that require botany training, knowledge about plants, algae, and other organisms that fall under the umbrella term botany. These include those that are more traditionally associated, such as teaching at secondary school level. For example, it is a requirement if you wish to teach science at secondary school level that you have done undergraduate botany to at least second year. However, there are also a wider range of new jobs that are emerging. For example, those that are looking at sustainability, those that are looking at mitigating climate change. And there's also a really high demand, for example, for people that are able to identify plants and to survey and carry out environmental impact assessments. And you hear frequently that there are not enough people trained in those areas. We're also seeing this. For example, if we advertise MSc and PhD positions, frequently we get large numbers of applicants, but the majority of the applicants don't have the skills that we would expect them to have to carry out that position. So I hope that you can see from this that botany can take you a long way. In fact, it opens up a whole green and blue world to you. And I hope that you're going to really enjoy studying botany in semester 2. And I have put here also some really useful links for you about the Botanical Society of Britain and Ireland, and also the Botanical Society of America. Some questions about what botany actually is, what a botany career is, or what types of careers you can actually choose within botany, and why botany is vital